Welcome, race fans, to the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks. Tonight we're at Kentucky. I'm Jerry Isaacs. As always, with me is Cody Richardson. You out there, Cody?
I am here, Jerry. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. Looking forward to some racing on oval instead of that road racing we had last week.
Yeah, here at this mile and a half, freshly paid for the iRacing scan oval, Kentucky Motor Speedway. The better version of Texas, a little inverted, instead of a flat 1 and 2 and a banked 3 and 4, it's inverted, banked 1 and 2, a little flatter 3 and 4. Like I said, 1.5 miles in Sparta, Kentucky. A little hot out there tonight, 78 air temperature, 109 track temperature, winds out of the north at 4 miles an hour. We got 100 laps here tonight with you guys. Fuel runs about 25 to 30 laps, give or take, but they only have 4 sets of tires. And if you can do some math, you start on one, you get 3 extra sets, 25, 50, 75, 100. There's your 4 sets of tires. Not a lot of strategy tonight. It's going to be basically run to lap 25, pit, repeat.
Not a lot of strategy, but I don't know, Andrew. Andrew's with us again, as always, the man from the north, Andrew Kotska. Welcome.
Good evening, guys. I heard we are going to get some KFC here tonight, weren't we?
Is it being delivered?
I think so. I mean, they would have to do that for us coming all the way down here to Kentucky for this race.
All right. Well, I hope they're choking that
Expect it.
chicken now so that it'll be ready for us come race time.
I sure hope so too.
So on strategy, I mean, Cody talked about it. There's no real strategy play here. I guess what? Just save your tires and go as fast as you can. And can you do both?
I
Yeah,
mean, go as fast as you can, save tires, and do what you got to do. Andrew, you got anything else other than that?
No, that's pretty much all you got out there. Maybe pit a lap earlier or two to try to jump a guy in front of you. Maybe stay out a lap longer. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of strategy here tonight. It should be just an even split to try to get the most fresh tires you can all throughout the race here.
So I heard before the race, the drivers were saying you can go flat out in 1 and 2. Just because you can, does that mean you should?
Never. It never means that you should. I mean, you can for a couple laps, but it's going to put a lot of wear and a lot of heat into that right front tire, and it's just going to slow you down and tighten you up the rest of the run. Your best bet, even if you're leading, is crack off that throttle to 90%, 80%, just to try to get a little better turn, slow you down just a little bit. You'll carry a little less speed at the beginning of the run, but you'll be a lot faster up at the end of the run.
Yeah, and all our viewers out there, you'll notice you're not seeing any trucks. I entered as a driver, which means we cannot watch qualifying, but you do have the time charts up there for you to take a look at as we get through qualifying. We've got, looks like 16 trucks that have put down a time. We have, I believe, 21 or 22 drivers here tonight, but not all of our playoff drivers. Cody, give us our playoff driver rundown.
Yeah, well, I mean, the top two on the board right now, Kyle Nadeau and Mike Stiverson, are your top two in the playoff standings as well. Imagine that. They've been 1 and 2, it seems like, all season long. But Kyle's got a 12-point lead over Mike right now. Eric Anderson sitting in third. He is 17 points back from Kyle. Carter Lawson sitting in fourth, 24 points back. Gary Bowman sitting in fifth right now in the standings, 30 points back. Chris Dorsey, Chris Harefield, William Kern round out your playoff drivers. They're 43, 64, and 78 points behind your leader, respectively. It's going to be a long shot for them to get in there, but anything is possible still with what I believe 5 races left to go, Jerry?
I believe that's right. And remember, there is no cutoff and point reset. This is a points battle for the remainder of the 5 races. Andrew, if you're Eric Anderson, you're 17 points down, Carter Lawson 24 points down. What's, Gary Bowman 30 points down. It's not a case of if one guy wrecks and you win, you're going to pass them. What's your thought going into this race?
Yeah, I think at this point you're kind of thinking that you need to get up front and try to get as many points as you can, and maybe I know it's sometimes a bad thing to think, but you sometimes hope that those guys that you're chasing down have a little bit of bad luck in the race. 17 points is hard to make up when we got a field here tonight of what is it? About 20 cars out on the track or so. That's a lot of points to make up with so few numbers. So you just got to try to run up front all night if you can.
Is there,
find some magic.
you talked about, yeah, running up front all night. I mean, is there anything you can think of that you could try from a strategy perspective that, maybe a long shot, but could pay off big with the tires the way they are? I mean, I don't know what your option here is other than try to run up front.
Yeah, I mean, you can always try the strategy of running long and hoping for a caution, but at that point you're really hoping for that caution to kind of trap some guys a lap down. So, I mean, that's the only thing you have other than trying to run up through the field to get up there to kind of make up some time on those leaders. Because if they're going faster than you, you're going to have to find some kind of different strategy that they aren't doing to try to leapfrog them on the racetrack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's it. Is running. We've heard maybe as far as 30 laps on fuel. If you can make the 30 laps, that's you have to pit at lap 90. If a caution comes out at lap 88, you're in the catbird seat. You'll have 10 lap fresher tires, or 15 lap fresher tires. But I think that's just you're just hoping for something different to happen. It would have to be a long shot. I don't think you see any of the top 5 or 6 trucks tonight, and especially not the top 3 or 4 in points, are going to try something that drastic.
well, but if you're one of those two I talked about down in points, and for whatever reason, you're coming to the pit cycle and you're running 10th. At that point, do you say, well, it's kind of all I got. I'm going to stay out and hope for a caution?
It's possible, but I think it's just there's a lot of fall off here and everything. I don't think it's going to be a good idea to do. Like, it's possible. I just don't think it's going to work out.
Well, you got to try something. Our qualifying has ended. Let's go down our qualifying lineup here. First place up there in the front, of course, Kyle Nadeau, followed by Mike Stiverson, our playoff points leaders up there in that front row. Chris Harefield, Gary Bowman in fourth, Kevin Fetty, Jason Higginbotham, Garrett Johnston, Eric Anderson, Ken Long, and Chris Dorsey make out your top 10.
Yeah, Ed Jurgen starting in 11th, Carter Lawson, another playoff driver, in 12th, Mike Donahue in 13th, Ray Richer in 14th, Nathan Dufton 15th, Chris Letts in 16th, Dave Gainforth in 17th, Stephen Music in 18th, George Cushman in 19th, Brian Dorsey in 20th, and Dennis Ellis rounds out your field in 21st.
I'll tell you what, that's some respect right there. They've got me in 20th, and I didn't even turn a lap, and I'm not last.
And that's changed now. You are last.
Okay, for a minute I wasn't.
It's changed quickly there, Jerry. Yep.
Yes, it does. All right, so we are going to do 100 laps here. I think we're going to see very similar to what we saw a couple of races ago. I think we're going to see some side-by-side for maybe 3-4 laps, and then it's going to turn into a single-file train until we pit. Thoughts?
I mean, I think you're pretty well spot on. That's what we see at most of the mile and a halfs, Jerry, is it just turns into a single file train once you get done there. I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing else to it, but just how these trucks run. It's a lot of dirty air, a lot of draft, a lot of momentum. It just works out for the best usually for the drivers to just single file out and not try to wear the tires out.
Yeah, Andrew, if you want to make a pass, you want to do it with good tires. So does that mean you want to try and make your passes in the first 5 laps and then get in that train when tires are bad? Or can you still make a pass on bad tires here?
I mean, you can definitely make a pass on worn tires, but sometimes you just want to kind of go a little bit at the beginning, get into a rhythm, try to get a couple spots if you can, and then from there just kind of ride it out. So if you got a shot at a spot or two in front of you, you might as well go for those.
Pace car is
Pace
off.
trucks, making that hard left-hand turn here. Kyle Nadeau, Mike Stiverson, front row, coming here, waiting for the green flag, entering that restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Kyle gets a really good jump, is able to clear him. Looks like he's going to be able to clear that front row easily as they go into turn 1. A lone truck out front, side by side, the entire pack behind him here.
Mike did not get a very good start there. He has fallen back now to 4th. Gary Bowman on his inside looking to take that spot away from him, and he does.
Yeah, Kyle getting a little bit of pressure from the 18 of Chris Harefield behind him here into turn 3, but is able to work that momentum through the center of the corner, get a good run off. Kyle Nadeau, your pole sitter, going to lead lap 1, clear by 4 truck lengths as they enter turn 1.
Top 4 trucks are single file, but we get back here into about 5th place, and you'll see some side-by-side racing, including some of the playoff drivers. Eric Anderson here in 8th on the outside. I don't know if he's trying to get to the bottom or if he's just kind of rolling that outside, waiting to be patient, make some moves later in the race.
Yeah, maybe Andrew, you can expand on this a little bit more. You've done a little more as a little contact there between Eric Anderson. They've done a little bit of an update to iRacing with some dynamic track. It takes heat a little bit different. You've had the pleasure of driving a little bit more than I have on this. What are the drivers going through right now as they start to put heat in this racetrack?
Yeah, I think they're probably feeling a lot of different things than they felt out here a couple weeks ago. The last time we were out on an oval, the track itself, like it just has this different feeling as it gains heat for the racing groove, and some of these guys you're probably going to start noticing here shortly that they're going to start looking around the track trying to find a little bit more grip outside of the main line, just because of the heat change in that main line. This was a feature that iRacing had a few years ago before they moved over to the current tire model, and something that they've just brought back. And I'm sure some of these drivers are going to be thrown for a loop out here tonight with the ever-changing track they're going to be experiencing.
Yeah, we heard some comments from the drivers last week of the first race we did on the Wednesday night Rising Stars series. And a couple drivers even commented that they didn't know if they were going to be able to be as good as they were before with the track changes and everything. Sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but other times it seems like a really significant change. I think it's a step in the right direction, but something different than they're used to for sure.
Jason Higginbotham here in 8th place. He's down 3 spots now into 9th place.
3 wide battle for the lead. 3 wide for the lead in turn 3 right now, Jerry. Sorry to cut you off. Kyle Nadeau trying to pinch down Chris Harefield. Gary Bowman takes the outside lane. They're still 3 wide, unable to get that sorted out as they go into turn 1. Kyle's the meat in this sandwich right now.
Here we are. We got some playoff drivers up there. You're thinking maybe they won't take some chances, but I don't know if Kyle wanted to take that chance, but he's a part of it.
Yeah, it almost looked like he tried to back out, maybe just thinking to saving a little tire. But Chris Harefield, now your new leader, able to clear the both of them into turn 3. Kyle still side by side with Gary Bowman. Mike sitting back here just hoping something would happen. He can pick off the pieces later on. A little bit of a gap between Garrett Johnson behind him back to Eric Anderson, who seems like he may be holding up this pack a little bit or just saving a little bit of tire. That there's about a half a second gap between the top 5 and the rest of the field. Starting to see everything spread out a little bit more now.
Yeah, we're also starting to see a bunch of guys trying out a whole bunch of different lines out there. They must have heard us right as we're talking about that, and those guys going 3 wide up front. Everyone's kind of looking everywhere right now, trying to see what's fast for their truck right now.
Took a few laps. Gary made it work around the outside to get ahead of Kyle. Kyle now down to 3rd place with Mike Stiverson right on his tailgate.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much heat was put on the track, since we do carry over track state, how much heat was put in the track in practice and qualifying. Maybe that line they were running starting to lose a little bit of that grip there. Drivers are going to have to start searching for other places. As a leader, you don't want to move around, but now Kyle's falling back to 4th as Mike makes the pass on the exit of turn 3. 3 wide battle behind them for 6th place. Now settled down to 2x2 between 6th and 10th place.
This high line seems to be working for some of these guys. I don't know if it's maybe the bottom line's getting hot, this dynamic track, or if they're just looking to make some moves while they have tires.
You know, it'd be really nice if we could see the temperature of the track right now. That'd be really good to see what it's actually doing out there.
Yeah, especially the extra lanes.
How much it's changing.
Yeah, so it's showing, it was 107 degrees whenever we started. The track temp's showing right now at 119.
Battle for
so
the
I don't
lead.
know if that's daytime just making the track hotter as the day goes on, or if that has something to do with the tire heating up the track as well. I agree. I wish we could have a little bit of a lane difference here to see what each lane of the track was running and have a little heat map going on.
Gary Bowman looked to try and take the lead away from Chris Harefield, went down to the bottom. Now he's finding himself battling to retain the 2nd spot with Mike Stiverson coming around his outside.
Yeah, makes you wonder if he saw those guys using that outside lane to get around Kyle and said, hey, I can do that too. You're not the only one that can do that. Kyle's falling back to fourth. Mike's trying to make those moves up, though. Still a pretty good tight battle there for the top 4 spots.
Great battle. I think Gary Bowman listened to Andrew before the race and realized, okay, best I can do is get up front and try and win this thing. He's up 2 spots into second place and cutting down below Chris Harefield, looking to take over that first spot. He's down on the apron. He makes it up to his door. Let's see if he can make that stick on exit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it all the way past him. Still side by side down the back straightaway, unable to get that call of clear. The 18 of Chris Harefield's going to run him tight to the bottom. The 08's going to try to do everything he can to get in the throttle, but can't quite make it. Harefield's going to have the momentum on the outside and give Mike Stiverson another run down the front straightaway at Gary Bowman's door as they cross the start-finish line for second place.
Kyle looking like maybe he settled down a little bit, wanted to make a move, but just doesn't know where to go. But Kyle is getting pressure from Garrett Johnston.
Kyle with a big aggressive move. Mike was able to make that pass on Gary Bowman. Kyle had a big run down the back straightaway, dived into turn 3, tried to get up underneath there, but going to lose that momentum, unable to complete the corner, can't get out all the way to the wall. We've got a heck of a battle here for the lead, top 5 spots with a little mini breakaway from the rest of the field.
Mike Stiverson running that bottom down all the way on the yellow line. Looks like he has made the pass. Is he going to go up? Yes, he gets up in front of Gary Bowman to take second place.
I think Gary cut him a big break there. It looked like Gary had to hit the binders a little bit to keep from running him on there. He wanted to shove his nose out there, knew that we're 14 laps in right now. It was not the correct time to make that kind of move. Mike just trying to be aggressive, keeping his spot there, knows he's a little bit faster, but had a big brake cut, I believe, from Gary.
Garrett Johnson gets down low below Kyle, makes the pass, is now in 4th place ahead of Kyle. Kyle now down 4 spots into 5th place. Gary Bowman running wide on these corners.
A little of a touch there, I think, between Mike and the leader, Chris Harefield. I think Mike got a little bit on his bumper, had to check up or keep from running. He's going to lose the momentum down the front straightaway and may lose this second position as well.
Yeah, Gary doesn't mind running in that higher up. Is that going to affect his tires any differently than running that bottom line?
Andrew, I'll defer to you. You are the highline specialist of this room for sure.
That's a good question. With the new updates, it's really hard to tell, like, if it's really causing too much of an issue. I've been trying to see if anyone's really been talking about it too, because I've been able to run the high line throughout different runs in the last week, mostly in the Xfinity car, and haven't really noticed a huge difference in the different lines and the extreme wear. But if you're a guy running the high line and trying to stick it full throttle the whole time, I think you might see some extra tire wear, but I think they'll be probably fine just running up high a few laps here and there, just trying to make a few passes out on the track.
Meanwhile, I talked about Jason Higginbotham had fallen back a few spots. He's now back into 6th place, has been slowly working his way up. He's caught this top 5 that we've been talking about all night.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think our leaders pushed a little bit too hard, with the exception of Kyle. Makes me wonder now if maybe he didn't have a problem, but he was cracking that throttle listening to us. But that top 5 breakaway we had has kind of fallen back to the rest of the pack. There's really not much of a breakaway. Still have a side-by-side battle here for 3rd between Kyle and Garrett. But Eric Anderson, that was running there that we had said had fallen off a little bit, is up a spot from where he started. Carter Lawson's up 4 spots, and they're, a half a second off of this field, starting to catch these leaders back up.
Yeah, Carter Lawson, our big mover right now, up 4 spots into 8th place. A playoff driver who needs to get up there to make up some points.
Yeah, currently sitting 4th in the championship right now. Says he's not good in the trucks, but the biggest mover of the race. I think we all know he's a little bit of a fibber when it comes to that.
Absolutely. Mike Stiverson, Chris Harefield, Chris running in 1st, Mike in 2nd. They have a little breakaway, 3/10 from Kyle, although I think Kyle, now that he's got some not battling side by side, is probably going to catch them pretty quick.
Yeah, looking at their last lap times, Kyle was about 1/10 of a second faster than the leader. Looked to be the fastest truck on the track right now. running a 33 flat to the leader's 33.08. Everybody else looks to be in the 33 ones and twos or worse.
Jason
Yeah,
Higgins. Oh, go ahead.
I think Kyle was starting to catch those guys. They were trying out that high line in 3 and 4, but I don't think that high line in 3 and 4 is working with how flat it is. So it's kind of giving Kyle the edge here to kind of catch these guys a little bit.
Kyle has definitely caught those guys and looked like he was going to try and make a move to the outside of Mike, but that did not work. Now he's got Garrett putting pressure down on the inside. Garrett pulls back in line. Our top 4 in line within 1/10 of a second of each other.
That could have been a beautiful move. He had the momentum. He checked it up down the back straightaway. I thought he ran high, backed up his corner entry to get a good run down the back straightaway and take that low line in 3 and 4. Decided to check up that run and just take the position away. Not able to quite clear him as he goes into turn 1. Mike dives it in pretty deep, gets underneath Chris Harefield there. We've got 5 trucks under a blanket right here for the lead.
We are here. We are 22 laps in. This has been some fantastic racing. I'll be honest with you. It's not what I was expecting tonight. I was expecting that single file. These guys are putting on a show.
Yeah, I mean, and even a little further back in the pack, I know it's not a very large field or whatever, but there's good battles going on all throughout the racetrack. I mean, I'm seeing gaps of a 10th or 2 throughout a lot of these guys. I said, I'm sorry we're not focusing on those guys at the back. And whenever you have a 5-truck battle for the lead, it's kind of hard to pull away from.
Eric
My sheet's
Anderson.
been lighting up like a Christmas tree over here. Just constant cars passing back and forth out there. It's great to see with this updates and everyone's able to find some pace all over the track.
That's the fun part is we're seeing them now run the high line, the low line. They're moving up and down that track. Eric Anderson now up 2 spots. He's in 6th place, and he has caught this pack. He is 6/10 off of the leader.
Yeah, Jerry, I said there were 5 cars under a blanket a lap ago. Now we've got 7 cars underneath that same blanket fighting for the lead. Harefield's able to pull out a little bit of a gap there, just having a good lap there for sure. But these guys behind him are battling and jockeying for position back and forth. We're only a lap or 2 away from what we project pit stops to be. This could get interesting on pit road.
I didn't watch him practice to see if people were practicing their pit stops. We'll find out shortly, I think.
Yeah, this is a tough pit road to get onto. With that flat 3 and 4, it's really hard to get the truck slowed down and turned onto the apron. Once you do get on there, even though it's not a big transition, that flat can get the truck really, really loose. As I'm just hearing the 20 of Mike Stiverson is going to be pitting from 2nd place now. We'll see if anybody comes in with him. Looks like the leader makes the call as well. Hearing it come, Kyle Nadeau also going to go in. Looks like everybody made it down to pit speed pretty good. Bunch of trucks behind them also coming to pit road.
Guess who your leader is now? No one other than Jason Higginbotham. Jason staying out, followed by Garrett Johnston, Eric Anderson, Gary Bowman. These guys have stayed out. Let's see if they're just going to do 1 lap to avoid traffic or if they plan on running long.
Yeah, you know, I actually don't mind this strategy from the likes of Eric Anderson. I know I said that the top few in points weren't going to do it. Eric's coming to pit road. Oh, almost got rear-ended there on the way to pit road. Was able to avoid everything. I would have almost liked to see Eric run that a little bit longer. He was faster than the guys on the long run. Use that to your advantage. I know you're going to lose some time on the front end of it, but make it up on the back end of these runs where everybody else is falling off.
Chris Harefield, the first one out of the pits. Mike Stiverson, Kyle Nadeau, and Kevin Fetty are the next out of the pits. Meanwhile, Chris Dorsey and Dennis Ellis and Brian Dorsey remain out on track. They have not pit yet.
No, making that strategy run long. You know, somebody's got to. If you follow the leaders, Jerry, you're going to continue to follow the leaders all night long. You might as well do something different. If you're running in the back anyway, I mean, even mid-low teens, or low 10s into the early upper teens, there's no reason not to try something different if you don't have the pace to run up front. I think the front runners are doing the strategy they have to do, but got to do something different, though, if you're running near the back.
Chris Harefield here is the first truck that has pit, followed by Mike Stiverson, Kyle Nadeau, Jason Higginbotham, Garrett Johnston. Those were under the blanket Cody was talking about earlier. Now that split is 2.5 seconds, and then it's another 2 seconds back to Gary Bowman. Andrew, how important is our green flag pits?
They are very important, Jerry. You can lose so much time just into pit road, off of pit road, just in your box. Like all the little things, they all add up here. And that's why we're seeing this 2 second spread, just those small little things entering and exiting pit road that can lose you time.
Dennis Ellis, the last truck in the pits. He's just gone in the pits, so when Chris Harefield here cycles around, he will be the leader.
When you were talking about it, Jerry, so we're looking at Chris Harefield, our leader, looks to have the best pit lane time that we saw, 46.3 seconds. You compare that to Gary Bowman, who is right underneath that blanket, but now almost 4 seconds back from, if I can do my math right, 3 or 4 seconds back from the leader. His pit lane time was 47.7 seconds. So he lost over a second and a half just rolling pit lane and through the pit stop. That's a second and a half on track is a lot. Under a green flag pit stop, it's not near as bad as if you were a second and a half off under caution. But whenever the margins are this tight, that's the difference that you're seeing.
Mike Stiverson looking to take the lead for, I believe, the first time tonight, cutting down underneath Chris Harefield. They are side by side on exit. Mike looks like he will not have enough momentum to make that pass. I think Mike might be looking for that bonus point. He may be pushing a little hard to get a bonus point because those matter in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he's going to make up some points on Kyle right now. He's not going to be able to clear. Wants to be clear off of turn 2. Not able to get that clear call. Still had just a hair of a nose there. Chris is going to dive it down in deep on the high side of turn 3 and 4. Mike's going to try to fight to get that momentum, but has to pinch that corner off. He's just going to try to get to the line, I think. He's still able to... Chris is able to edge him out there at the front of the start-finish line. Mike looking for that extra point, dives in deep into 1, is able to clear him good this time.
Yeah, finally gets past him. That's a lot of tire wear just for 1 point. But
I mean, it's been a lot in 5 weeks, Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot, and now you have clean air. You know, you can aero block kind of behind you. You can't really block, but you can kind of throw some dirty air on the truck behind you's nose. Run the line that you want, set the pace that you want. You got that lap lead that you needed. The guy you're fighting's 2 spots behind you. I mean, I can see using up a little bit of tire to get that bonus point.
All right, we've gone through our first pit cycle. We are 33 laps in. As you remember, the top 7 trucks were all definitely within a second, probably within a half second of each other. Now the top 7, it's almost a 4-second difference. But we've got in the lead Mike Stiverson, followed by Chris Harefield, Kyle Nadeau, Jason Higginbotham up 2 spots into 4th, Garrett Johnston 5th, Gary Bowman, Kevin Fetty we've not talked about, he's in 7th place, Eric Anderson in 8th, Mike Donahue in 9th, Carter Lawson in 10th.
Yeah, Ken Leung in 11th, Ed Jurgen in 12th, Dave Gainforth in 13th, Nathan Dufton in 14th, Ray Richer in 15th, Chris Dorsey 16th, George Cushman 17th, Chris Letts 18th, Brian Dorsey 19th, Steven Music rounding out your top 20, Dennis Ellis currently showing in 21st, and Jerry, every truck is still on the lead lap.
This is some great racing tonight. Now, I think we are seeing a little bit more of what I was expecting in terms of some single file racing, not side by side now. We've got some gaps out here, although Kyle looking to try and make a move on Chris Harefield. Oh, Mike Stiverson in the wall. He just a tap, but let's see if there's any damage.
Look to be a little incidental, but I think a little harder than he was expecting to hit it there in the back straightaway. I can't see anything from the spotter stand where I'm looking at, Jerry. What about you?
I don't see anything from behind.
Yeah, I think he just tagged it with the right rear a little bit on exit there. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Doesn't seem to have hurt his speed much either. He's still able to maintain his half-second lead over Chris Harefield. You know, you talked about maybe him burning up the tire, but it looks like he just drove away from him. Is he burning up the tires too much, or maybe is Chris not used to driving in dirty air anymore?
That could also be what we saw with Mike, could also be a net code. Sometimes when you're not in the car, you're following the car, you can get a little net code wall hit, where the car doesn't actually hit the wall, but you think it does from a little net code. Did I say net code enough times?
No, you did not. Not at all.
Netcode.
Other than our battle there for second place, looks like the closest battle we have on track right now is going to be Chris Dorsey here, looking to try to put a move on Ray Richer back for 15th place. About a truck length off of him. Everybody else is kind of spread out just a little bit. Chris is going to get underneath him there as they cross the start-finish line. Not have the momentum that he wants, but will probably be able to dive it down and clear him as they go into turn one here. See if that happens. See if Chris can pull this spot back. Yeah, Chris is going to be able to clear him now. Chris Dorsey up into 15th position, trying to work his way through the field a little bit. Again, Chris stayed out a little later, has those little bit fresher tires than everybody else. He put on lap 28, everybody else on 25 or 26, it seems like. Brian Dorsey, Dennis Ellis are the other two on that strategy. So look to see how far up the field they can make it on those 3 or 4 lap fresher tires.
Meanwhile,
Seems
Jason
like our
Higginbotham.
entire top 5 has gotten back together up here.
Yes, they have. And Jason Higginbotham just almost made the move on Kyle, got down below him, looks like he's going to hold that lead in front of him, but can't. Oh, just gets clear. I think Kyle might have had to let out just a little bit. Yeah, Kyle's loose there. You can see it.
That's one of those take what you need moments. You're clear with contact.
Yes. Garrett Johnston looking to make a move on Kyle as well. Kyle getting shuffled around more than we're used to seeing in this race, but he's also great at saving tires. So I don't know if this is a strategy play or if he's just not as comfortable on this track as we've seen him on other tracks.
Yeah, makes you wonder. We're about 10 laps away from our second scheduled pit stop. You have to assume that the top 3 or 4 are going to stick to that strategy. They already made their bed to lay in it. You know, it's time to start putting the pedal down. But if you have already, it's going to be backing up into these other guys. And I can't believe these top 5 trucks have found each other again.
Oh, this is great racing. Biggest movers of the night, though, right now. Dave Gainforth in 13th spot, up 4 spots, and Dennis Ellis in 18th spot, up 4 spots. Playoff drivers.
Yeah, we also have to talk about the big losers, though, and it's really Chris Dorsey down 5 spots, but on that alternate tire strategy. So we'll see where that settles out here whenever the pit cycle happens, see what happens with that. Really, our biggest losers right now are all trucks that have been on an alternate pit strategy.
Yeah, our playoff drivers, Kyle, our points leader now sitting in 4th. Mike Stiverson leading this race, who came in down 12 points. Eric Anderson in 7th. Carter Lawson in 9th. Gary Bowman is in 6th. Chris Dorsey, where is Chris? Chris is in 15th. And Chris Harefield up in 2nd. He's running second, having a great race, but down 64 points.
Yeah, 4 of the top 5 looking to be playoff drivers right now. That also, I believe, like 5 of the top 7 are also playoff drivers. So it's getting pretty close up there right now. All these playoff drivers trying to make points, but man, a small field like this, it's hard to make those extra points up.
I love this. We're seeing, you can see this front group here. You got Kyle now running the high line, looking for some. What's he looking for, Andrew? Just some cooler track?
He's just looking for whatever he can find out there. I think he's kind of struggling out there tonight with the changes and just trying to see what he can do. And he's just hoping for some more grip up in that high line. Yeah.
We've got 2 trucks up running the high line, 3 down at the bottom. Fantastic racing tonight. Is that chicken here yet?
Well, I saw the Colonel in the stands, but I haven't seen the chicken yet.
He was holding the box, wasn't he?
It looked like it, yeah.
Maybe he's just doing a little sun cooking.
I don't know if I want sun-cooked chicken.
It doesn't sound like it'll be done enough, does it?
Sun tea, that's good. Sunflowers are good. Sun chicken does not sound appetizing at all.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't sound very crusty. I mean, crunchy. I don't know if I want crusty chicken either. I do like crunchy chicken, not crusty.
Got a pretty good battle back here for ninth place. Mr. Krusty there. Ken's going to make a pass on, or attempt to make a pass on Kevin Fetty. Unable to get it done on the exit of 2. He's going to try again in turn 3 and 4 right now. Looks to be some of our only side-by-side action on the track. Ken's running that bottom line pretty good. See if he gets clear on exit. Looks like he's going to be able to clear him and move up into the 9th position here. Back where he started now.
Andrew, we're coming up on our second green flag pits. If you were one of those guys that, lost, if you were Gary Bowman, who was running up there in the top 5, he's now a couple seconds back. He's catching up to the pack a little bit, but he's running in 6th. So you didn't have as good a pit as you wanted. Does that put more pressure on this pit cycle?
Yeah, I think it does, and he's probably going to be thinking of wanting to try something a little bit different here too. Maybe pit a lap earlier than the other guys to try to gain a little bit of time on the track, and might see him try to push it a little bit more on pit entry coming down this time as well too.
Steven Music, who you see in that picture, is a lap down, just came out of the pits on fresh tires. That's where all his speed is coming from. Jason Higginbotham coming down low under Mike, trying to make a pass, take that lead back. I think Mike's... No, he is pitting.
That's, I like that move.
Oh,
You
did
force
he
him out
go
of the
in too
line, you
fast?
slow it up. I'll go and see if I can check
Do we
the
have any
results
black
and see if
flags?
we have any black flags or not. I'm not showing any right at the time, Jerry. It looks like everybody made it to pit road just fine so far.
Higginbotham, Harefield, Nadeau, Bowman, and Jurgen all pit that lap.
Your leader's coming in. Mike's coming in this time as well. He just made the announcement over the radio. He'll be coming to pit road this time.
He's coming in earlier than planned. I think that's got to be a reaction to that first group pitting.
Oh, 100%. There's so much fall off right now. Like they're almost 2 seconds of fall off this deep into the run.
Carter Lawson coming in fast. He did not speed, but he made up a lot of time on Eric Anderson on that entry.
Yeah, we're seeing the guys come off of pit road as well. Kyle was able to make it to pit road with that first group, Chris Harefield, Jason Higginbotham. I think it kind of caught Mike out. They pit that early, but it was 100% planned. Jason made it down, forced Kyle out, or forced Eric, if I can talk to about the right person, forced Mike out of the lane he wanted to be in, and then made that pit entry. It was a beautiful move to do. Slow Mike up a little bit and get the fresher tires on a lap earlier.
Now Kyle and Mike are in the same radio channel. What do you think? What do you think was said between them when Kyle pit?
I think Kyle made that call watching Jason pit. I did not hear Jason come across the radio that he was pitting. I think it was just made on a whim. And you can see how much damage that did to Mike. Mike's now down, 5 spots down from where he should have been had it all cycled out right. Jason Higginbotham's going to cycle back to that lead whenever everything settles out. Mike will be down in 5th place, that 1 lap extra.
Yeah, as we were looking at that, what we thought was a battle for the lead Bruin there, I did hear Chris Harefield come over the radio and mention he was going to be pitting, so I think everybody was reacting to his call at that point as well, too, to come down pit road.
That leaves George Cushman as, I believe, the only truck out that has not yet pit. We'll see if he pits this time.
And he will be coming this time.
So
you said it. He said he's coming. It's like he's listening to you, Jerry.
He's coming in this time. That's going to put Higginbotham up in the lead with a 1.6 second lead over Chris Harefield.
And again,
Wow.
it's that 1 lap earlier getting on and off pit road and the position on the track that they were in. Their rolling time was their pit time was identical. Their rolling time was almost identical. Chris Harefield actually 0.2 of a second faster than Higginbotham on pit lane, but just able to get on and off pit road and the position on track gives him that 1.7 second lead.
All right, we have cycled through our second green flag pits. Jason Higginbotham in first, Chris Harefield, Kyle Nadeau, Gary Bowman in fourth, Mike Stiverson in fifth, Garrett Johnston in sixth, Eric Anderson, Carter Lawson, Ken Leong in ninth, and Kevin Fetty in 10th.
Yeah, Mike Donahue in 11th, Nathan Dufton 12th, Dave Gainforth, Ed Jurgen 13th and 14th, Chris Dorsey in 15th, Ray Richer 16th, Brian Dorsey in 17th, Dennis Ellis in 18th, George Cushman in 19th, Chris Letts 1 lap down in 20th, along with Steven Music in 21st.
Jason Higginbotham has a 2-second lead right now, but it's less than a second from second to sixth.
It's amazing. We've talked to Jason Higginbotham a lot this season in the post-race interviews. He's doing what he normally does here, it seems like. Starts a little bit far back, works his way to the lead, and then never looks back from that and drives away from the pack. Seems like he's doing the same thing tonight. If you would have asked me 50 laps ago, I wouldn't have believed it. But here we are.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the better guys on the pit entry and exit. It's something that we didn't see in the actual pit road times, but I think where he made up his time was that attack onto pit road and then getting off of pit road and back on the racetrack there, and that really helped him get this lead that he has.
Oh, 100%. Now that Mike's moved into third place, it's a little bit different, but therefore, if you look at the pit times and pit lane times, they're all within a couple tenths of each other from the top 6 or 7 drivers. And actually, the pit stop times of everybody except for Mike were within 1/100th of a second of each other for the top 6 drivers.
So it's all on pit entry. It's how fast you can go, get it slowed down to the speed limit.
Yeah, see what you can do without turning it into a Kyle Larson at a Homestead moment and overcook it into the barrier, the sand barrels. But Jason Higginbotham, I agree, Andrew, made up all of his time attacking that pit entries. We got 3 wide for second place here. Oh, it's a tight little bit of contact between Chris Harefield and Mike Stiverson. Garrett Johnson dove it underneath on the front straightaway, took him 3 wide. It just got a little bit tight there on entry. Mike wasn't able to clear. I don't think he's very happy about that. Looks like he dove in it, tried to maybe give a little love tap to the back bumper of the 88. You see the 88 have to get loose as Mike gets there, takes the air off that spoiler, and they are fighting hard for second place as Jason Higginbotham is now laughing away with a 2.8 second lead over this group.
Oh yeah, he's loving seeing this in his mirror right now as he's just pulling away from the pack.
Yeah, the only thing better than being the leader is watching everybody fight for second place behind you.
Mike Stiverson looking to go underneath Garrett Johnston for second place. Doesn't make it stick. Got a little bit of lap traffic up high. They get by him easily. Back to single file.
That group, and then the next group that's closest on track is back for 14th, 15th, 16th place. Battle between Ed Jurgen, Ray Richer, and Chris Dorsey. And Chris ended up kind of throwing that strategy out the window. He ended up pitting on lap 50. A couple laps later than everybody else, but split that in the middle. We'll see what he does here, if he stays with the group or does something different on this last pit stop coming up. But again, all second through fourth are within a half a second of one another. Yeah, take a minute to catch our breath here, guys. It's been a heck of a race so far. Kind of hard to believe we're already on lap 60.
This has been exciting. I've been looking at some of these lap types though the last few laps here, and it seems like the leader here has been kind of dropping off in pace a little bit, and these guys in this group are just slowly catching them as well. That gap I was looking, it was at about 2.8 seconds, and it's come down now to about 2.3 seconds or so.
Well, they've got back to single file. I have to think that will help them a little bit to be able to put together a train and maybe catch him.
Yeah, and when you're not side by side, you get the whole track to keep that momentum going around here. When you're side by side, you're giving up so much speed trying to leave space for either the guy below you or above you around the track. So you always want to be single file when you're trying to catch that leader.
Yeah, and they are quickly catching him. Like you looked at the lap times, Garrett Johnson in second ran a 32.3 last lap to Jason Higginbotham, your leader's 32.6. The gap's now down to 2.2 seconds, it looks like. They're starting to reel him back in as we're still about 13 laps or so away from our next pit stop.
And that's the lesson, boys and girls. When you are facing trucks in front of you, you want to catch. Don't battle the guy beside you. Work with him till you catch him, then battle.
Yeah, a little different story if we got 10 to go. Whenever there's still 50 to go, do what you can to better everybody's position with you. got to think big picture time, not small picture time.
Exactly. If you still got a pit out there, there's no point in battling at that point. You still have to go through a whole pit cycle, and anything can happen at that point. So you might as well just stay in line, try to keep as much pace as you can, and then worry about battling once you get closer to the end.
Man, again, our second place driver looks to be the fastest truck on the track right now. We're in a 32.6 last lap to the leader's 32.9. Trucks behind him running 32.7s and 8s. The top second, third, and fourth are faster than the leader right now, starting to track him down, but Garrett Johnson is showing some long run pace this time and starting to reel him in better than everybody else is, pulling away from the guys behind.
Yeah, I've got to commend these drivers out here tonight. That's 2 green flag pits so far. Some great competitive side-by-side racing. We haven't had a yellow, not to jinx it, but this has been some fantastic driving tonight.
Thanks, Jerry. You've cursed it now. We're cursed.
Yep, we'll see.
Let's hope you didn't, but I agree. This has been some really good driving. Really close, hard battling, too. It's not like you see sometimes where we don't have a caution. Everybody's got a 5-truck gap between them, and you just kind of spread out in single file. And so we had 7 trucks within a half a second of one another, driving like it was a super speedway race in that before that first pit stop. We've had the top 6 or 7 trucks all together the entire time. Not very much contact. A lot of hard, respectful racing. Gotta love it. But things have settled down here on the track for sure. We are a little more spread out now at the second pit stop. We're coming up on the third and final one, we think. Gap to the lead now down to 1.3 seconds. Also 1.3 seconds between second and third place. Still fighting Mike Stivers and Chris Harefield there for third and fourth position.
Not
Gary
a whole lot
Bowman,
of
Kyle
battles right
Nadeau.
now.
No, everybody's really kind of spread out. 3 or 4 tenths between all the trucks.
Looked like there was about to be a battle for 14th, but that's kind of spread out a little bit there as well too now.
Yeah, big movers of the night now. Jason Higginbotham up 5 into first. Garrett Johnston up 5 into second. Carter Lawson up into 8th. He's up 4 spots. Dave Gainforth in 13th, also up 4 spots. Dennis Ellis up 5 in 17th. Biggest loser, Kyle Nadeau, down 5 spots. He's not the only one. Kevin Fetty down 5. Chris Dorsey and Ed Jurgen also both down 5.
That is not something you want to see as the points leader, to be down 5 spots and now about 5 seconds off the lead, give or take. That's not something Kyle would have hoped for coming into this race, but had enough of a point buffer, I believe, that he's going to be okay. You may not have the points lead after this race, but he'll still be in a pretty good position.
So we're coming to our last green flag pit, Andrew. Do you want to be the first to pit or the last to pit?
It's kind of looking like you want to be one of the first guys to pit. That extra lap or 2 of those fresh tires help you get out there a little bit further. And if you can get out there and save your tires a bit, you might be able to keep those guys out there behind you out on the track.
You know, I'll agree with you with everybody but the leader. If I'm the leader and still have a 1 second gap, I am not going to be the first one to pit road. I am going to base it off of, it looks like right now Jason is racing Garrett, and that's it. I am going to pit the lap that Garrett calls he's going to pit. That's where I'm going if I'm the leader right now.
So if he calls he's pitting, are you going to try and pit on the same lap, or are you going to go 1 extra?
Depends on when he calls he's pitting.
Well,
if he calls he's pitting and I'm entering turn 3, absolutely I'm coming to pit road and covering him off then. If Garrett does the smart thing and waits till the leader is past the pit entry line and then calls he's pitting, I'm going to have to pit the next one. I'm not going any further than 1 lap behind him, and I would probably have a set number lap that I would pit either the lap after Garrett pits or lap probably 75, whatever comes first.
Yeah, and Garrett's got over a 1 second lead on Mike Stiverson, so he may not even need to call out his pit.
And not only that, but that gap has started to stretch back out a little bit. It was down, I think, 9 tenths. Jason's got it stretched back out to about a 1.1 second lead, give or take. And so it's varying lap to lap. He was a 10th faster last lap than Garrett was. everybody seemed to have settled in on their times for sure by now. I think if you get over a second lead, it's 2 seconds of fall off, but you know you're better on pit road. Look at the gap you had getting onto pit road the last time. You just trust in your skills getting onto pit road and hope that you can make up the difference.
First truck to pit, Ed Jurgen. His truck looks a little beat up there on the side. I don't know if he pit to maybe get some repairs and tires, or if he's just trying to do something different. Nope, no repairs.
You're in the window. This is something different you got to do. Hopefully you can hold the guys off
leaders coming
tires
in, coming
behind
in.
him.
He didn't like your strategy, Cody. He chose his own.
Apparently not.
Mike Stiverson pitting.
That's going to work out good for Mike. I mean, you got to follow the guy that's been leading the most laps all night long, Jason Higginbotham, working his way through and leading the laps. I think if you're Garrett and Gary, you have to come this time. You're going to lose way too much time if you don't.
All right, Gary coming around the backstretch. Let's see what he does, turning into 3, I think.
18's coming to pit road this time. 97
Garrett
coming
is-
as well.
Yeah, definitely slowing.
You know, we haven't said much about it.
Oh,
But
Kyle
look who's right,
almost gets into the 18 there on pit entry. Sorry.
yeah, look who's right behind Kyle right here now. Like we were talking about Eric being able to having a good run and everything tonight. I hadn't realized he had made it to the tail end of this group of trucks. Eric's really in a battle for a podium position, if not a win tonight as well. Having a really good run.
And they have brought a big crowd of trucks in. Aside from those, Ken Leong, Donahue, Dufton, Fetty.
Oh, did Kyle make his pit box? Did Kyle?
I don't know.
I'm
Chris
not sure if he
Harefield
made
did
it.
not.
Yeah, Chris backed up. I didn't catch Kyle there, though.
Let's see if we
Kyle
can...
got deep, but I think he made his box, but he definitely had a deep entry there.
We got a little reverse here. He did make his pit. He just slid right into the box.
Yeah, that gives Eric Anderson jumped Chris Harefield there, able to make his pit box as well. A little bit of a gap between Kyle and Eric now as they enter pit road or come off a pit road. There's Carter Lawson making his way around those guys as well. Carter still having a really good run with that.
That's going to put Garrett Johnston in the lead with a 1.5 second lead over Jason Higginbotham.
What happened to
Pit
Jason
lane
there on?
time.
That is.
He had a 10
No,
second
no.
pit stop
Hey,
here.
think
Garrett
that's
Johnson.
a 2-tire
No,
pit
that's
stop.
yes.
Yeah.
That's 4 seconds faster. I think Garrett threw a Hail Mary here with a 2-tire pit stop. I can't confirm that, but I'm looking at the pit lane time. There's no way he took 4 tires in 10 seconds.
No, you say a Hail Mary. I didn't think he really needed to, though.
I
That's a bold
agree.
strategy.
That's a very bold strategy that I don't think was needed. He was chasing him down on 4 tires, and the gap had stalled, but I guess maybe feeling like he came in a lap late
Well, it
compared to
worked.
Jason.
Let's see how it plays out for him. It sure looks like Jason Higginbotham is catching him pretty darn quick. He had
last
a one.
lap, he was about a half second faster here on the last lap, Jason, compared to Garrett. So I think he's going to be passing him here in a few laps on this strategy.
Yeah, we've got Chris Dorsey and Brian Dorsey first and second, respectively. They have not pit. Garrett Johnston, Higginbotham, Stiverson, Bowman, Nadeau, Lawson. Those are your leaders that have pit, and Higginbotham is catching Garrett real fast.
Yeah, I mean, last lap times, Jerry, was a 32 flat for Garrett and a 31.6 for Jason. I mean, I'm not gonna knock anybody for trying a strategy that's a little bit different. I just don't feel that Garrett needed to do something that drastically different for this race.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have another set of tires, so it's not like if there's a caution, everybody's going to pit.
No, and you can see Jason Higginbotham is there. Like he is there, just able to roll the center of the corner so much better. Is going to be able to get underneath him here, and will probably be clear of him before they get to turn 1, honestly.
Last 2 trucks have pit. That makes Jason Higginbotham your new leader.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is going to work out that great for Garrett, but we'll see how the 2 tires work. If they don't fall off near as much, if the fall off's already happened, maybe just start slower and don't fall off as hard. We'll see what happens here. I'm not sure with the two-tire strategy. Mike Stiverson running in third. He's going to be smelling the blood in the water, though, seeing how quickly Jason Higginbotham was able to get around him and looking for that second place.
I'll tell you what, though. Jason Higginbotham has a 1.7 second lead over Mike Stiverson in third, a 4.3 second lead over Gary Bowman in fourth, over 5 seconds to Kyle in fifth.
Yeah, like I said, Jason was only racing Garrett, but you just have to kind of feel that Garrett beat himself on this pit cycle instead of going out on the racetrack and trying to beat Jason. But we don't know what's going on in that truck. If he feels like he doesn't have the truck to be able to do him, you got to do something to try to get the win. And I'm not going to knock him for the bad strategy. It doesn't seem to work out this time.
19 to go. The gap between first and 10th is now 17 seconds. That's all being green flag pits. Not all of it, but big chunks of that is green flag pits. Being able to get in to pit fast, not speed, and get back out fast. These guys were, top 7 were all in a blanket before our first green flag pit.
And don't look now, back in 7th and 8th position, Eric Anderson looking to put some pressure on Carter Lawson. That's your 3rd and 4th place drivers in the playoff standings battling for positions here. Every point matters as it sits right now. I believe Eric will maintain that 3rd position in the playoffs, but Carter's looking to try to pick off some people. Chris Harefield with that little bit of a mistake on pit road right in front of him, but he's about 7/10 of a second off of Kyle. Just trying to reel everything back in, make some recovery from what happened there on pit road.
Guys, our top 10 are all Chevys and Toyotas. The top Ford is in 15th place tonight.
That's the
Where it
untold
should be,
update.
right?
They didn't talk about you.
Yeah.
That's sarcasm, guys. It's not real. But
Big movers right now. Higginbotham up in first. Garrett Johnston. Now that Higginbotham has gotten by him, Garrett is hanging very well there in second place, up 5 spots. Carter Lawson up 5 spots in 7th. Dennis Ellis up 6 spots in 16th.
you're able to hang on there in second place. Heck, he was a 10th of a lap faster than the 10th of a second faster last lap than our leader, Jason Higginbotham, running equal lap times in the 3rd and 4th place trucks. It may not have kept him the lead, but he's closer now than he was before.
He is right there on Garrett's tail. Those tires did not work the first few laps, but maybe he knows something we didn't.
Yeah, it looks like maybe they've equalized a little bit. He's able to run, was a 0.5 tenth faster that last lap than our leader. Maybe just sitting back there trying to pressure Jason into making a mistake. Garrett, if this works out for you, I'm going to apologize profusely in your interview that the 2-tire call was a good one. It's working out a lot better than I thought it was going to, working out a lot better than it looked like it would whenever you came out of the pits for sure.
There's a reason we're up here talking about these guys, not down there driving with those guys.
Let's be honest, Jerry. If it's not a next gen,
Yeah.
I really don't know what I'm talking about. So,
I don't even think Andrew races the trucks very much. I know you love to race the Arca and the Xfinity. How come you don't like the trucks?
I don't know what it is. It's been a while since I've driven them. They reminded me too much of the Gen 6 cars, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Cup Series Gen 6 cars. They just felt like slot cars kind of to me. Not a huge fan.
I think the other thing too, Andrew, was they were so aero dependent. They are so aero dependent. And for the longest time, if you made a tiny mistake and tapped the wall, you were 2 or 3 tenths off the pace the rest of the run. Now that it's swapped to the new damage model and a little wall tap doesn't affect you quite as bad, maybe it's time we give it another shot.
It might be.
Tell you, a car.
Looking like a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, car I gave another shot. I drove a GT3. Eric Anderson looking to make a move on Chris Harefield for 6th place. Gets down underneath him. He's side by side.
Nope, no contact. It was tight, but no contact.
He's
Had
got
to lose a little momentum there down the front straightaway, but still side by side with him. Looking to make that gap on Carter Lawson a little bit bigger in the point standings.
He does get past him. Chris Harefield slides in. That's going to put a truck between Eric Anderson and Carter Lawson, making up some points, as Cody said. That's when I'm best, is just repeating what you guys say.
Hey, it's the best thing to do in this situation, Jerry. Best thing to do.
We are coming on 10 laps to go here. I have been, I've really enjoyed this race. I thought it was going to be a bit of a oval version of Watkins Glen. You know, we had to make up a lot of dead time, but this has actually been a really good race. I've enjoyed it. These guys have put on a show. Garrett Johnson, look at him still putting pressure on Higginbotham on those 2 tires.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it from 3rd through 8th, they're all playoff drivers. 5-year playoff drivers right there, nose to tail, basically on the track. Jason Higginbotham, Garrett Johnson just kind of stinking up the show a little bit up front. As a non-playoff driver, I say, and driving away from everybody else. But I mean, I agree, Jerry. It's been a really good race. One of the best mile-and-a-half races we've had this season. Kind of makes you wish they'd go back to Kentucky in real life, huh?
Absolutely. Is that chicken here yet?
It's not, but man, I can smell it for sure. It must be right outside the booth here.
On its way.
We need to eat before we do this, guys. This is 2 weeks in a row we've talked about food.
Yeah, and race is going pretty quick. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
not. It feels like it's going quick. It's been an hour.
Hey, I mean, that's the best kind of race, though, whenever you spend an hour watching it and don't even realize it and think it's been a lot less time.
Absolutely.
We're going to have 8 to go as they cross the line right now. Garrett Johnson still putting pressure about 3/10 back from Jason Higginbotham, your leader. They both have a 2-second lead, give or take, over Mike Stiverson in 3rd, who's a 2nd ahead of Gary Bowman in 4th, who is a 2nd ahead of Kyle Nadeau in 5th, who is 2 seconds ahead of Eric Anderson in 6th. Carter Lawson was able to get around Chris Harefield for the 7th position. Chris Harefield, that makes him in 8th. Ken Liang right where he started the race at in 9th. Mike Donahue, your top 10 right now as we run with 8 laps to go.
Kevin Fetty in 11th, Nathan Dufton, Dave Gainforth 13th, Ray Richer, Chris Dorsey, Ed Jurgen, and Dennis Ellis in 17th make up your lead lap trucks. George Cushman, Brian Dorsey, Chris Lest still out there on the track. Steven Music in the pits. Looks like he has parked it.
Yeah, seems like these tires have equalized a little bit. You know, I got to give Garrett those props, though. I thought it was going to turn into him falling through the field on those 2 tires. He's able to make it work and lost the lead, but was able to lead a lap, got that bonus point for it. He's not in the playoffs, but still some implications farther on down in the field and everything. Jason's starting to pull away a little bit here. I think the 2 tires are starting to show their age, but stuck right with him for the longest time.
Gary Bowman, that's a lap car. He's looking to get around there. Gary Bowman in 4th with a gap of almost a half second up to Mike Stiverson, a full second back to Kyle Nadeau. We better show Kyle's truck now, and let's go to the back so he can get his sponsor, Manicures by Shani, because you won't see it after the race tonight. Is that mean?
Hey, you might still. There's a lot of racing left. We got 5 laps to go, a little under 5 laps now. Jason Higginbotham doing what he does best on that long run and pulling away from everybody. Gap's now up to 0.8 of a second. Got to wonder if Mike's starting to sniff a little blood in the water. It's a big ask to make up a 1.5 seconds over 4 laps now to go. But he's got to see him backing up to him.
1st to 5th, Jason Higginbotham to Kyle Nadeau is a little over 3.7 seconds. We've had 3 green flag pit stops. I really, early in this race, you know, I talked about Higginbotham. He fell back. You know, he was battling for, 4th, 5th, 8th early on. I didn't expect to see him at the end of the race, but I tell you what, we know he drives fast. He's a good driver. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I think his excellence in pitting is a big winner for him tonight.
Yeah, he gained a lot of respect from me with that move he made, like I said, forcing Mike up out of the groove that he wanted to be in and then making pit road. That was an outstanding move to gain some time, gained a lot of time on the field coming on the pit road. We're going to be coming to 2 to go as it's Jason exits turn 3. A little cloud cover on the track now. Cool it down. See if somebody wants to throw a fast lap down. A little cloud cover in 3 and 4 anyway. Looks like 1 and 2 still has some sunshine shining on it for sure.
Extra point for that, but it might be a little late on those tires to put down a fast lap.
Yeah, I think 2 seconds of fall off you're not going to throw in. Looks like fast laps are in the 31, 2 and 3 second range, and they're running 33 5s right now. I don't think anybody's going to be throwing down a sub 32 second anytime soon. But Jason Higginbotham coming out of turn 4 one more time around, taking the white flag this time in the air. She's got to bring it home 1.3 seconds back.
While you're mentioning this, Gary Bowman's gotten around Mike Stiverson for 3rd place as well.
Yeah, that's something I didn't see coming. Mike must have fallen off this a little bit here, trying to fight back, but Gary's just got a little bit of fresher tires. Jason Higginbotham rolls the center of 3 and 4 for the final time tonight. Lap car in front of me, but not going to make any difference. Jerry said he was falling back early, but he made his way back all the way up to the front. Jason Higginbotham, your winner tonight. Garrett Johnson able to come across the line in 2nd place with that 2-tire strategy. Gary Bowman able to edge out Mike Stiverson by 0.2 of a second. Your final podium spot. Guys, I'm going to see if I can round them up if you want to go through the rest of the finishing order here.
We will do that as usual. Give us just a second. We need to get everybody across that finish line for our grid to populate, and we will go down that finishing order. Meantime, Andrew, man, that was an exciting race. I've said it already, but I'll repeat it again. Much more exciting than I was anticipating. I enjoyed it.
You and me both, Jerry. I was not expecting it to be as exciting as it was out there tonight. I know we've seen a lot of mile-and-a-half races that can get very boring and very strung out very quickly, but we had some great battles all throughout the race, even in the top 5. It was a great sight to see out there today.
Absolutely. There's your race results on the screen. Jason Higginbotham coming in as your winner. Garrett Johnston in 2nd. Gary Bowman, Mike Stiverson, Kyle Nadeau in 5th. Eric Anderson, Carter Lawson, Chris Harefield, Ken Leong in 9th, Mike Donahue in 10th.
And in 11th, we have Kevin Fetty, Nathan Dufton in 12th, Dane Gainforth 13th, Ray Richter 14th, Chris Dorsey, Ed Jurgen, George Cushman in 17th, Brian Dorsey in 18th, Dennis Ellis 19th, Chris Letts in 20th, and rounding out the field 21st is Stephen Music. Yeah, some great battles like we talked about all night out there. It was an absolutely wonderful race.
Yeah, and I think, Andrew, did you catch up with our 3rd place finisher there?
I sure did. Gary, you got a copy out there?
Yeah, I got you, Andrew.
Yeah, how about that race out there tonight? Nice full green race. It got some great green flag pit stops in there. How'd the night go for you? You finished in 3rd place. How'd that feel?
Ah, it was great. Yeah, the racing was really good. That first run, I kind of went outside of my realm and kind of ran a little bit harder than I usually do. I burnt my stuff up, but it was fun mixing up with them guys.
Yeah, I saw we were noticing a lot of guys were searching around for different lines out there. Did you find anything out there that was helping you on the track?
Yeah, I found like a lazy arc, like coming in a little bit high and kind of staying right above that bottom seam. It seemed to help me some. Plus, you're staying out of everybody's dirty air.
That's good to hear. So I guess you're one of the guys enjoying the new updates out there on that dynamic track as well.
Yeah, nothing like playing chess at 160 miles an hour.
Yep, it's an absolute blast. And, well, you know the drill. You've been up here a few times. Anybody out there you want to thank? Any sponsors, family, friends? Floor's yours.
Well, I got to give a big shout out to you 3 guys up in the booth. You did a great job. And my team, Lounge Racing, Ed, he made it out tonight. And of course, my lovely wife and Cyber Thunder for stepping up and sponsoring the series this year. And that's about it.
Well, great race out there, Gary. I know you probably won that win, but 3rd place finish is always good out here in this field. Good race, and we'll see you again next week.
Yeah,
We'll
sounds
hopefully see you again next week up in the booth.
Yeah, hopefully. Yep. All right, you guys take it easy. Thanks.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, and I caught up with our second place finisher here. Garrett, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I figured I'd take your interview because I threw the most shade on your two-tire strategy. I thought whenever you got past, you were going to be 15th by the time it turned out. But, man, I got to give it to you. That was a heck of a call, and it hung on there a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Talk us through that last run. Did you think you had enough with those two tires to make the pass again for the lead?
Well, I was right there with you, and for the first about 10 laps of that run, it seemed like everyone was just going to fly right by me, and I was already thinking how I was the biggest idiot in the world. But once everything evened out, it was really fast. Once it got past all the looseness, but obviously then with the two tire stop comes the fall off. So once we got late in the run, it just kind of fell off. But we hung on, so got to try something. But at least it didn't work out for the worst, I should say.
I mean, you were up 5 spots from where you started. Looked like everybody was having a lot of fun back there. You took it 3 wide a couple times going into turn 1. Looked like it got a little bit of sketchy, but everybody up there was racing really hard. Other than your two-tire strategy, any other thing stand out from your race tonight?
Yeah, like you said, it means a lot to be able to run up front with a lot of people that you that you can take it 3 wide and things will work out. It's fun to be aggressive but also race clean at the same time. So props to everyone up there that had a very clean run all race long, and it's a pretty good race overall, I'd say, for everyone.
Well, hey, I'll let you know. I'll hire you to be my crew chief if your calls like that end up working out good all the time. But I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to you, let you give your thank yous, whatever you want to do tonight.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far. I'm no crew chief material. But yeah, a hi to my dad, grandma, aunt, everyone watching. Thank you guys for running the show up there in the booth. I know it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but props to sticking through it for this whole season, and really appreciate you guys doing this every week. So looking forward to a good rest of the season.
Hey, well, thank you very much. A good race out there. Congratulations on your second place finish, Garrett Johnson.
Thanks, guys.
And our winner again, Mr. Jason Higginbotham. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, Jerry. Great, man. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. I getting used to talking to you every week. I don't
I like
get
it.
tired
I
of
like
it.
talking to you.
So, man, we were bragging on you all night. Well, not all night. Your race started out a little slow there.
It did that. It did that.
What happened there? Talk me through that first
I'll
part.
tell you what, this is a terrible, it's bad enough the track's hard enough on the right front, but you get behind somebody, much less 8 or 9 cars, and it's a bucket. It's a dump truck. It's just terrible. So I worked my way up there and won't paying attention to the laps. I knew Mike was going to pull some crap right there, but I didn't think he was going to pull it on 23 or 24, and I already had to. I wasn't going to try and pit with them because I'd have caused a wreck, so I had to go around one lap, and you see that killed me. That one extra lap put me 2 seconds behind. I had to, I was so mad after them pitting and me not pitting that I've run the crap out of it from lap 26 on. I never let off the gas.
I'm going to hijack that for a minute because that next pit stop after that was
Yep.
probably the best thing I have seen in ages.
I was so
you
mad.
got underneath Mike,
Yep.
moved him out of the groove, and then made the best pit stop that you gained 3 seconds on everybody else
Yes,
behind
I
you.
did. Yeah, I did. I was so
was-
mad right there. I said, you ain't going to pit this time. I pulled under him and then darted in there. Yeah.
That
was
was
amazing.
a 500 IQ move for sure and was probably my move of the race. It was outstanding.
Thank you. I was more lucky than it was anything, but I'll take it.
Well, all the pit stops were great. We had 3 green flag pits. They were all great. Do you practice those?
I did at the end of practice. I practiced them a little bit. What I'm scared of is I practice them on fresh tires and never practice them on wore out tires. I do practice them like 6, 8, 10 times at the end of practice there after the driver's meeting, but It's not like coming in on old tires, but I still practice them pretty good. Yeah.
Well, that practice paid off tonight, man.
Yeah, it did. Definitely. Definitely.
You know the drill. Anybody you want to say hi to or shout out to?
Yeah. I miss all my teammates tonight. I know Crank and all them guys won't here, but me and Chris held it down pretty good. I'll take it. I definitely got to thank all you guys here at Cyber Thunder. It's great racing, tough racing. I thought Garrett had me. When Garrett's 2 tires equalized, he had some good runs, but he didn't. Same thing. You notice when the air wasn't on his truck, even though he burnt those right sides running behind me so long, and then I got on the way the last 8 to 10 of that. So got to thank him for driving me clean right there. Definitely fun racing all you guys. Higgy's House of Power and the Chevrolet right here.
Awesome, man. I never get tired of talking to you. We
Thanks,
got some
man.
more
Appreciate
races ahead. We'll be talking to you again, I'm sure.
I hope so, Jerry. I appreciate it, fellas.
All right.
Y'all have.
Whoops, cut him off a little early. Good race tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean that was
Blast.
one of the best races we've had all season long so far.
Hey,
Yeah.
we didn't have to share any recipes tonight. There was some great racing out there.
Yeah, we talked
it
about
was
some
good.
chicken though.
Well, you got
Yeah,
to
you
whenever
guys
you're in the
just
home
didn't
of Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, and you guys just didn't have dinner yet, so I had to tempt you guys with some kind of food here.
There we go. So, all right, we are off to Las Vegas next week. Trucks at Las Vegas. Join us next week. Tune in, check it out. We'll be there. Maybe we'll have a new recipe for you. I'm hoping we'll have some great racing like this. Green Flag Racing, wire to wire. So much fun. Don't forget Wednesday nights, Rising Stars on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network tomorrow night. Still playoff time for them. And then Cup Cars. Where are the Cup Cars this week?
So the Rising Stars are going to be at Phoenix International Raceway tomorrow night, and the Cup Cars go a week early to Las Vegas. We are at Las Vegas on Thursday night. Come check us out, Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Cup Cars there. Turn around next Tuesday. Watch the trucks at Vegas. Should be a good time.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you next week. See ya.
Have a good night.
See ya.